Hi everyone, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Welcome back to leg 7 of our P38 flight across the entire Pacific Ocean. This time we are flying from number 6 Niue to number 7 Rarotonga. This is the first flight in the growing length series all the way up to and culminating with the Easter Island to Robinson Crusoe leg. You might have recalled that on leg 6 we had a bit of an issue just towards the very end of the flight in trying to find the island, but it ended up working out right. The system that I have set up, the procedure self-corrected myself, so I've also added a number of actions in response to that. So anyway, today's flight will be 675 miles. There are no islands between Niue and Rarotonga, which means that it's going to be very blue water. And because of that, we need the longest range that we can possibly sight land at. So we're going to bring ourselves up to the highest cruising altitude that we're allowed to go at 30,000 feet. We'll be flying a speed profile of 2, which means that fuel is starting to become a factor again. It's not like we can do the last episode where we just completely roared through the skies. We're going to exercise a little bit more caution, but still nowhere near a dire situation in any respects in terms of fuel. Okay, here's the nav log for leg 7 rather, and you'll notice our friend TOC 1 has made an appearance again, and that's because this flight is long enough that top of climb plus 1 hour is still in cruise. One of the things that came out of the last leg 6 anomaly was that I needed to account for the speed in descent instead of just pretending that it's cruise all the way through. So you'll notice that there's actually 2 downs. Beginning a descent, I immediately start down, and you'll notice that the calibrated, or actually it's true airspeed there, decreases as we start to come down in altitude. So that will help me out when it comes to figuring out whether or not we need landfall. Because on the last leg, I abandoned what would have been an okay landfall. If I hadn't done anything and just kept flying where I was, we would have run into land. So it is very important that I know for sure that I am beyond land so I don't turn up early and turn away from what would have otherwise been a perfectly good flight. We're still burning a pretty hefty 115 gallons per hour in our current mode, and the fuel that we're going to have remaining is just over 2/3 left in the tank. So again, no real serious situation when it comes to fuel. We still got plenty of miles left over in the tank. And the other thing to mention too is the weather on the November Charlie Romeo Golf, which is the Rarotonga Airport. Is originally down as 2,000 feet few clouds, but that has actually since improved, and the METAR at Rarotonga is currently reporting clear skies, so we literally cannot beat this. And I am concerned about the clouds this time because we have a new moon. That's very significant, having a new moon. It basically means we're not going to see anything. We're not going to see the clouds. Well, we might see a little bit of the clouds. We're not going to see the water at all. And we're not going to see the land until daybreak happens. So we have to be pretty careful about this. Okay, here's the Celestial Navigation Checkpoints chart. The nice thing is, again, unlike the last episode, everything is starting to expand out again. So we've only got a single waypoint or a celestial time controlled point that has a double stacked waypoint. Talk 1 and beginning a descent. Talk 1 is obviously at 1 hour. Beginning a descent is going to be at 16:05, so a little bit after that. LOP intercept is targeted for 16:11. Rarotonga at 16:37. And I actually already picked out my stars this time. Hopefully we can end up going with these. The speed star that we're going to use is Ada Ophiuchi. And I just love saying Ophiuchi. It's just such a crazy name. And we'll use Agena as our course star. And the reason I did this was to make sure that the stars are as perpendicular as possible, so that I don't have to advance an LOP. We can get really accurate with our positions. I've also updated the right side of the chart with the leg distance. I'm anticipating that our ground speed is going to be about 364 miles per hour. That's without wind. The Navlog had it as a little bit higher than that. So we'll be going pretty fast. Almost as fast as we did last time. But there's much more distance to cover. Okay, here is the fuel burn chart. And we're still single-engine to Rarotonga all the way there, and we're single-engine return as well. But you'll notice that wide go there, come back, go there, and come back again. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. We get really close to, in fact, if the winds are blowing against us, we might come really close to intersecting the one-engine return line. So this is just a reminder, hey, things are going to get harder. Be prepared for my ahead line to intersect the one-engine return line. And that means very significant things when it comes to if I can't see base because of bad weather. The other note is that the return lines suddenly get steeper on the last leg, and that is because I have, like I said, I've factored in descent, so now I have to factor in a climb. What happens if I try to land or get down to 1,000 feet like I did last time and try to push the clouds lower, and it doesn't work out? So then I have to climb back up to 30,000 feet again, hence the steeper curve on the chart. That's just how it works now. Okay, here is the landfall chart. The name of the airport is Rarotonga. The island is Rarotonga, so the name is shared. I'm going to still try to do Altair again. I think we did Altair last time. Yeah, we did. So here is our landfall chart again. Expecting landfall just around 1611. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started on leg 7. Okay, guys, this is it. We're at the plane now. Can't see the plane? Well, neither can I. That's what happens on a moonless night. Now, if I do move the camera over, you'll see that we're actually pretty close to the terminal here, which is nice. Normally we're not this close. It's actually, for once, feels like we're not out in the middle of nowhere. But I can guarantee you 10 minutes after takeoff, it will feel like that. So there you go. So I was able to do pre-flight last time because of the moon, but I actually can't do it. And they don't have feel capabilities in flight simulators yet. I'm hoping that they would in about 10 years, but they don't right now. So I really can't check anything here doing the pre-flight. Let's see, I wanted this one. So we'll just go ahead and hop right in the seat there. All right, seat secure. Headset connected, canopy. Close and lock. Oh man, this is going to be a mess until we get the there it is. Until we get the lights on. Okay, let's see where we are. Flight controls, check. Well, okay, I can kind of see it just a little bit. Wow, if we can get, there we go. Nice. Ended up being able to check all 6 flight control surfaces there. I was not expecting that. And then the trim tab down here. 3 degrees back. Fuel selectors on reserve. So right now they're set to drop tank. That's how you set them after parking the plane. So we'll need to right-click once for reserve. And for some reason, oh yeah, it's probably because of the terminal. I can't actually see the selector switches this time. Okay, we're good. Selectors are in reserve. Fuel boost pumps, and I can see those. Those are off. Bomb selectors on. Arming switches in safe. Throttle cracked. Prop governors full forward. Propeller circuit breakers. Well, first propeller selectors. I'm not going to be able to see those right now. We'll have to skip it. Mixture control. I don't cut off. Propeller circuit breakers. Can't see them, but would feel them in real life. Propeller feathering switches in normal. I also cannot see those, so we'll have to skip it, but we will test them later. Clock set. I never figured out how this clock worked. It looks like it's something 55. Yeah, it's 1356. So it looks good enough for me, broken as it is. I have no idea what the minute and the second hands work. The hour hand, I haven't even figured out what that thing does. I think maybe it advances per every hour, starting from the hour that you are on, but instead of going, a 12th of the way around, it advances like a pixel, and it says 8 days on it. So I don't know. I even tried fast forwarding 8 days in the simulator and seeing what happens. Saying, oh yeah, it goes around once in 8 days. No, it didn't. It just stopped moving after like the 6th hour, and I was like, what the heck? Okay, altimeter set. Well, it's actually 29.92 inches of mercury here, so nothing to set, believe it or not. Gun switch is off. There it is. Let's see. Wing flaps up and in the closed position. Aileron boost. It's too dark to see the aileron boost. We're going to have to check it later. And that's something that actually concerns me, so I will check it. Auxiliary hand pump test. It's working. Parking brake set. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do some night flying checks here. We're going to put the battery switch on. There it is. Cabin lights on. Okay, there's the aileron boost that's on. I still can't see those. I'm going to have to do that later. Here's the prop circuit breakers. Those are in. And then the propeller selector switches. Still don't think I can see those. Yeah, I think they're down here. I'll try to remember to do those, but they're not quite as critical. Okay, the night flying checks. We're going to do the landing light. So I should be, yeah, here we go. Should see it. Actually, I can't see it. It's a little bit concerning. Still can't see it. Well, that's why we test these things. Okay, I saw it that time finally. All right, recognition lights. Okay, we're supposed to only get 5 seconds with it. I see it. 4, 5, right on time. It's because we're worried it might overheat. Cockpit lights are working. Avionics lights. I can't test those until I turn the engines on. So master magneto on, left magneto to both. Fuel boost pump on left. Primer full of cold. Okay. Starter energize. And engage. Mixture to auto rich. And we've got oil pressure, but it's pretty low. Let's see if that'll come up a little bit over the next couple minutes here. Okay, it's coming up. So we're good. Avionics light, we can... Well, we'll worry about that in a little bit more. Fuel boost pump off. I'm going to do hydraulic checks. Okay, that's back to neutral, or rather the off position. I say flaps up, but then I really should say flaps off as well. This checklist needs some work. Hopefully I'll get around to it. Okay, right magneto to both. Generator... Did I even turn the left generator? No, I didn't. I just keep skipping that. Well, good thing we didn't lose... Actually, did we? No, we didn't lose the battery, because the lights would have gone off, so we're good. In fact, we got 28 volts, so we're good. Fuel boost pump, right side on. Prime the engine. Where are you at? Okay. Starter engage. And energize. And mixture control auto rich. Throttle 1000 RPM, and let's see, oil pressure. We have oil pressure. Fuel boost pump off. Okay, I did say that we wanted to check the avionics light, so we should be able to do that now. Actually, no, we need to do the after starting checklist. So we're going to test the feathering switches, which don't function, but we're just doing it for just to be thorough. Radiators, not using them. AC generator on. And now we can test it out. Okay, that's working. That's working. And that's where we like it. Okay, so these, we want the everything in automatic. So right now I think we're in override closed. So we want to go to the middle position, which is open here. And then same thing with the... Actually, wait, I have, it's just the coolant shutters. It doesn't say anything about the intercooler. All shutters should be in automatic, which is the up position. And we have a step to check the gun sight light. Playing this game again. It is somewhere on the control column. I always forget exactly where. It might be this thing. It's like gun sight rheostat. Come on. Alright, we gotta keep moving through the checklist. We're gonna skip that. Not needed for the flight. And then the fuel gauge is checked full. Good. And I still have to do the fuel offload trick once we pull away from the fuel pump here. Gyro instruments uncaged. Yes. Oil temperature. We're looking for, let's see, minimum 40C. We're good. And then oil pressure, check minimum 75 psi. So we're going to need to get the RPM just a bit higher to get into that range. And we're good now. Fuel pressure, check 16 to 18 psi. Yes. And hydraulic pressure, 1100 to 1400 psi. We're good. Okay, now intercooler shutters once full open, so that's the up position. And lights as desired. So let's see, now that the engine's running, we've got airflow. So that means we can turn on the recognition lights. And, well, we'll light everything up. Landing lights on, wing and tail lights on as well. And we'll bring cockpit dim the way we like it. And that's it. Taxi checklist. So I make it a little bit different every time. This time I'm going to cut and we'll come back when we're on the runway, pretty much ready to do our engine run-up. Okay, before takeoff checklist, canopy closed, side windows closed with the ratchets on, trim 0, 0, and 3 degrees back, fuel selectors on reserve. Okay, so that's main, cross-section, reserve. Not able to see them right now. Cross-section, reserve. Okay. Wasn't sure, best to be safe. Fuel boost pumps, both on. Bomb selectors on, and arming switch in the safe position. Just in case we have to jettison after takeoff here. Okay, prop governor is full forward, propeller switches are in automatic, mixture control to auto rich, heading indicator set, vacuum check 2 inches, when reasonable manifold pressure is applied, there we go. Generator switches, let's check both, 1 on, 2 on, close. Oil shutters, both in automatic, intercooler flaps, both open. Actually, no, that's it. Dive flaps up. Okay, up, and the wing flaps are up, and we want in the closed position here. Yes. Aileron boost is on. Landing lights as desired, they're on. Lights as desired. Everybody's on except for the super bright cockpit light. Or is it? Yeah, let's turn that one on instead. There we go. Okay, run up checks. Put the brakes on here. Throttle 2300 RPM. Okay, we're going to check the magnetos. Alright, that is right or left. Okay, we're within 100. Try the other one. We're still good. Go back to boat. Now we're going to reduce 200 RPM. Good. And back to 2300. Check. Actually, I think we were at 2200. That's 2300. Ammeter, 50 amps or less, yes, and battery's good. Right engine, throttle 2300 RPM. Magnetos check, we're in both. That is right or left. And let's go to the other one here. Come on. This thing is, there we go. It's the most irritating thing ever. Back to both. Let's see. Prop governor. Set for a 200 RPM reduction. Good. Back to 2300. Check. Okay. Under 50 amps, and throttle 1200 RPM. Okay, we're ready for oh my gosh, we're 2 minutes late. Okay, I think we can do that. So I'm gonna say take off at 14, 17, 30. So we're having a slightly delayed takeoff here. One, two, three, four, five, six. Feet are on the brakes, and here we go. Holy! Oh my! What in the? Climb! Jeez, climb! My God, put the gear up. Ho ho ho! Oh my gosh! Get me the attitude indicator. What the heck kind of wind was that? That was the most disturbing takeoff that I've ever done. What in the world? What is this, 50 knots? Okay, continuing on with the checklist here. Gear is retracted. Engine instruments, check. We want to bring the... I can do it by sound. That's it right there. What the heck? Not bad. One inch off. Alright, manifold pressure, RPM, oil temperature, fuel pressure, oil pressure, coolant temperature, carburetor air temperature, ammeters, and voltmeter. Good. We're going to go up to climb, 40 inches, 2,500 RPM. We want to establish 165 miles per hour. And let's figure out where we're going to go. We're going to hold compass heading of 88 degrees. Guys, I still have adrenaline pumping. That was almost the end of the flight. I have no idea what just happened. And I guess that's one thing that differs than real life is you're not going to feel like you know, that weird noise that happens when you're way too windy. I wish that I could have checked out what happened, because there is no way that I'm going to be able to check it out, having taken off now. Right. Well, we're pretty much at 165. Engine instruments, manifold pressure, RPM, fuel, oil temperature, oil pressure, fuel pressure, coolant temperature, carburetor temperature, ammeter, voltmeter. Okay, we'll go for the climb. Trim set. Okay, we need just a little bit more nose-up trim here. I think I see the Milky Way, if I'm not mistaken. We're only at 6,000 feet. I had no idea what our altitude was after that mess. Fuel boost pumps off. Landing light off. Recognition lights as desired. Okay, all on, and we're done until just before reaching 12,000 feet. Ugh. I mean, I handled that good. Like, I'm very happy about that. You know, that easily could have been the end of it. Oh my gosh, I think that's the Milky Way there. That doesn't look like a normal cloud. I believe we're looking at the Milky Way there. Now, once we get to 30,000 feet, the forecast says there should be absolutely nothing. There should be absolutely nothing in our way, and thank goodness I'm going to have some time to process everything. So let's see, the wind was supposed to be 060 at 7, so there would have been a slight crosswind component, but still 7 knots. Oh my god. What I was seeing was more like 50 knots. I had to go to war emergency power for almost maybe 30 seconds. And that's not acceptable. I can't do war emergency power for that kind of amount of time. War emergency power is used for, oh my god, I can't drop my drop tanks and I'm in a down gust and I'm going to explode when my bomb hits the ground, or oh my god, there's a bogey on my 6 and I need to pull like 8 G's and it's not enough and the guy is coming down on me and I'm going to die if I don't do something about it. Well, that's when you use a war emergency power, not because you had a bad takeoff because of gusting. That's entirely unacceptable. Okay, it looks like we're not quite yet at 10,000 feet. Okay, enough debriefing. Let's stay on top of things so that things that are in my control don't get out of control, right? There's nothing we can do. Like, I can't hold a root cause analysis on what just happened. We got a gust of wind that was unexpected. I can't control the wind. There's literally nothing that I can do about it. The only thing that I could say is don't go when it's forecast to be above X knots, but 7 knots is nothing. I cannot do anything about it. You know, it is what it is. So, anyway, moving on from it, we have a mission to focus on. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. So we seriously need to focus. We had a dirty start, but maybe we can have a fantastic finish. Is that 11.5? Yep. Okay. Fuel boost pumps 1, 2, back on. Continue with the checklist here now. O2 flow on. Okay, I verified the blinker's working. And to check the O2 pressure. O2 pressure's good. And guys, we're going all the way up. It's supposed to be, and I did write it down for the sake of airspeed calculations, minus 35 centigrade. Even in Fahrenheit, that's in the minus 30s. Yeah, that's so cold that if you don't use the heat, you're going to get frostbite. Okay, next is the cruise checklist. Continuing on with setting up here. Latitude is 19, which is going to round to 20. Inputting top of climb assumed position here, and then this is Ada Ophiuchi that we're putting in here. 169.55. Uh, 1920, 169.55. Alright, we're good. 1920. Ooh, no. No. I put the location of Niue in for longitude. That's a mistake. 168.25. Okay. 1919. 168.25. Okay. That's why we double checked. I'm glad I did that. But wait a minute. Okay. Going back to my checklist here. And yes, I recognize that I'm veering off course a little bit. I'm juggling a bunch of things here. So we need to do the take first sight at top of climb. So I'm trying to figure out whether we solve for time or position. Because if we solve for time, we're going to have to update the yeah, we're going to solve for time. We need to update. I need to update the predicts here. Let's see where we're at. We're at about 16,000 feet right now. Okay. I need to. I need to get Skyview Cafe open, and I need to update the time. So going to the celestial checkpoints, we're expecting top of climb at 42, but we took off approximately 3 minutes late. So we're going to say 14:45, which means I need to plug in 14:45 UTC and resolve. So 14:45. Type is going to be speed. Actually, it's talk. Speed. The next is talk. Course. First object, Ada Ophiuchi. Assumed latitude minus 19 degrees, 20 minutes. Assumed longitude minus 168 degrees, 25 minutes. The azimuth of Ada Ophiuchi. There you are. 269 degrees. So let's see. If I subtract 180, that's going to be 89 degrees is our azimuth. Wait a minute. 269? Yeah, that's 89. I really hope I'm not wrong about this. Sometimes Skyview Cafe can have a little bit of funnies where it says that the object is at one location when it isn't. And yeah, that's really scary. 269 minus 180 is 89 degrees. Yes, 89. Elevation is going to be 57 degrees 54 minutes. Okay. And now I need to get the other star. Who the other one? Gina. Assumed latitude and longitude are the same. Gina is at 931, so that rounds to 10. Plus it is 190 degrees. And the elevation, 47 degrees, 50 minutes. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to update that information in here. So it's 89 degrees. I think I copied that wrong somehow. 89 degrees. $57 degrees. 54 minutes. Okay, so that's updated. And then the other one is 190 now. And 47 degrees. 50 minutes. Okay. So I have all of this information written down so that I can queue it up when needed very quickly on my Excel spreadsheet. The Celestial tab, that's why this exists, is so that I can have that information on standby. Alright, just 100% certain, because I don't want to get this wrong. 1990, 168.25. Okay. And double checking Ada Ophiuchi, 89 degrees, 57 degrees, 54 minutes. That's why we do this. Every time, second check yourself. 57 degrees, 54 minutes. Good. Alright, let's see if we can get the wings level now, because we're about where we need to be. I'm half expecting what happened in Orbiter to also be present here. So I keep looking for the kill rotation button. I'm like, where's kill rot? And I'm like, dude, you're flying a 1940s aircraft. This isn't a spacecraft from 2100. There is no kill rotation autopilot. Alright, enough blabbering. I need to get to the checklist, which tells me to blabber more, but this time I'm blabbering in an official sense. Do once during the flight. Take the first shot at the top of climb. The instrument scan. Watch the heading indicator, airspeed indicator. Time to pitch up just a bit. Watch for islands. There's no islands. There is but one island, and that's not now. Track update. Let's see, how long has it been since we've taken off? 14:35, and we took off at 18. So 18 to 35 is 17 minutes. 17 minutes. We were doing I think it's 190 is what it comes out to. 17 minutes. That's going to correspond with 55 miles. Wow. That's incredible. it takes less time for the ocean to reach abyssal plains than it does for us to climb up to altitude. The ocean floor is a flat 17,000 feet already. In fact, underneath right here, it's 16,886 feet, and very flat. Interestingly enough, we flew between Lachlan and Endeavour Seamount. I wonder if Endeavour Seamount was named for the space shuttle Endeavour. You never know. Like, it might have also been named for the, I think it was HMS Endeavour was the original one. But anyway, there's some really weird stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, we had to bring the space shuttle down, and there was this atoll that we used to get to as a landmark, and no one had a name for it at the time, so we just decided to call it Endeavour Seamount. You know, that's just an example. I'm pretty sure there's like a Discovery, or maybe that's HMS Discovery. It's like everything is either a space shuttle or an HMS something. Okay, chart update done. Anytime during the flight, fuel consumption rate in gallons per hour. We're on a constant 15 gallons until we reach cruise. Amount of fuel remaining, less reserve. Okay, so we're 2/3 of the way through climb. So with reserve, it's going to be 619 gallons, and without reserve, it's going to be 569 gallons. That's the amount of fuel remaining, both less and with reserve. Distance flown, we said that was 55 miles. Distance remaining on a 700-mile flight. Subtracting out 55 miles gives us 645 miles. Our interpolated position was 19 degrees, 12 minutes south, 169, 5 minutes west. And it is possible to return to base because my fuel chart says that it will be the entire time. Here's the instruction. Remember when I was looking around for it and say, do we solve for time or solve for position? Here's what we do. Take your shots at absolute times, regardless of actual position or assumed position. So I was right by updating the time of the shot. Update the fuel chart by plotting distance flown versus time and cross-checking with your tank gauges. I can't do that because until the drop tanks. That's why I'm so concerned about fuels, because until the drop tank's empty, it's always going to say full. Or is it? That kind of doesn't look like full to me. We're getting very close to critical altitude, so I'm going to be expecting the edges to go, and then I'll have to increase manifold pressure. What? Oh, no, that's right, reserve. I'm flying on reserve. So is that the reserve tanks that I'm seeing there? The reserve tanks are 60 gallons full or not? Yes. Yeah, okay. I forgot my own procedure. Okay, so the front tanks don't indicate full, and that's expected. So, in that case, it's not a guessing game. We've consumed, it looks like 20 gallons, because it's 10 out of each reserve tank. So it consumed, I assume, 20 gallons, so subtract on everything, so it's not 619, it's 609, and not 569, 559. It's trivial. I'm not too concerned about it. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop the first iteration of the checklist because we're coming up to cruise and I need to get my first shot off. I've got my Celestial tab on standby and have the cruise checklist on standby. There we go. just reached the critical altitude. And it's really clear out here. Let me see if we can, we're also really high. Obviously that was intentional. See back to Niue. I can't see it. We have gone into the night. Unless that's it. No, I can't see it. Okay, we're at 29,000 feet now. Okay, this is close enough. Before I forget to do it, I'm going to update the heading here from 88 to 87 degrees. It makes hardly any difference, but there we go, yoink. So that's been taken care of. Keep up to 40, and we're almost there. Okay, there is 29.5, so we'll go ahead and start leveling off now. Throttles as desired, prop governors as desired, so we're going to go to 39 inches. Oh, we're pretty much there right now. And we're going to bring the RPM to 2450. That's it, right there. So remember, this is like Planet Daisy. If we go too high, we'll lose power and come back down. If we go too high, we'll gain power and climb back up again. So it's a self-regulating process. The exact opposite of steam engine, which is always a ticking time bomb. The question is, are you going to explode, or are you going to... let's see, what's the opposite? Are you going to explode your boiler, or are you going to explode the wheels? You know, it's just a question of that. Alright, we're still climbing. Let's level off here, please. Okay, keep moving. Trim as desired. Working on it. Instruments check. Manifold, RPM, oil temperature, oil pressure, fuel pressure, coolant temperature, carburetor air temperature. Whoa, it's cold. Yeah. Generators, check, and voltage, check. We should be able to shut all of the doors up here because we're so dang high. Fuel quantity, ooh, yeah. We want to switch over. Just on time. 1444. We're going from reserve to drop tank. That should be one click over. Okay? Okay, I saw it. Both are in drop tank now. There we go, now I can see it again. Fuel selectors, drop tanks, then main. They're, they're drop tanks now. Intercooler shutters as just, okay. Let's worry about that later. I have it marked. I want to update the position now. Because we said 1445, right? Is that the time that we agreed upon? I think it was. Alright, let's do Ada Ophiuchi. Oh, don't mess around with me. Don't. Talking to the weather. I've had some really bad luck with this. Yep, no offset. I'm happy with where it is now. So we're on time late, if that makes sense. So I'm exactly where I expect us to be now, considering that we took off late. So I'm writing in top as 1445. So let's see, that was 18 minutes less than, no, let's do it 30. That was 3 minutes less than 30. 27 minutes. It took us 27 minutes to get up here. And for the flight plan, it was expecting 27 minutes. Sweet! That's a score. Okay, And yep, we're heading almost due east, so that's most nearly a course line, speed line. And let me get this plotted in Google Earth. So the azimuth was 89 degrees and the offset was 0. So the 89 minus 9 is 3, or minus 90 is 359. And that's where I'm going to draw my number here. Alright, I'm going to name this guy Top Speed LOP. Okay. Alright, let's get the other one in. Actual time of the shot 14:45. Offset was 0. Agena 190, so it's going to be this way. And what's our current heading? What's our current ground track, or at least believed to be? It's roughly 80. It's 87 degrees. So this is within 3 degrees of being a perfect horse star. So we don't need to advance this line of position here. It's not going to matter enough. 47 degrees, 50 minutes, and I have the first LOP, so I'm going to clear star 1. Clear. What was that? As soon as I pressed this button, I saw a flash over here. 45 degrees. Ooh. Maybe we can find it while we take the shot, just for realism's sake. That's pretty close too. I think that is a little bit off. Yeah, that's much better. I'm happy with. I think I'm happy with that. And it's not Ophiuchi. It's Agena. So there should be 3 bright stars out here. 8 Crooks. Oh yeah, we can try to find Crooks, the constellation. I think that's 8 Crooks out there. If that's 8 Crooks, then okay, I think I see it. Let's get this finished. Okay, minus 15. Minus 15. That's in the opposite direction. So instead of 19 or 0, it's going to be 10, and the offset is 10 for an offset of 15 miles. 10, 15 mile offset. Okay, and adding 90, so that's 100 degrees. 100. Save. Talk horse. LOP. Done. And that finished, we'll call it averaging over 14:49. Actual time of the shot 14:49. Offset minus 15. This is why logs help too, because it's good for heat of the moment. North-south off course. We're 15 miles off course north-south. And then east-west off course, we're not off course at all. In fact, couldn't be closer. Okay. So we're in statue miles, we're about 18 miles north of where we want to be. So I think I'll let that build until the 30-minute mark, and then we'll see what happens. So there's geez, that scared me. I thought the sim crashed for a second. No, I got too close to the recording pane, which when I mouse over it, it pauses the simulation. But anyway, you can see over here, remember the green circle is us until we reach LOP intercept, then it's the base. Or it's our assumed position, and then it's the base. The crosshairs represent where we actually are versus where we think we are. So we're roughly 15 miles north. Okay, here's my clear sky that I was looking for. That's good. Okay, nothing to do now. For corrections. So I think we're good right now. Okay. So we did the top of the climb thing, so we're going to do our scan here. Heading indicator, oh, we've climbed up to 32,000 feet. Yeah, let's descend. That's going to throw off my calculations. Airspeed indicator, we're at 190. I was expecting a calibrated airspeed of 218. Oh, but of course it's because we're way too high. That's why. To keep pitching down. See, what's happened is my manifold pressure's now cut back to 35, and I said it was a self-sustaining process, but I didn't set it up well enough. So it just so happened that the energy balance point is now way up at 32,000 feet. So we have to fix that. We should accelerate, but this is going to slow us down. So I'm actually going to nose over because I really don't want my time getting off. So far, I think we've planned for the winds bang on because, like I said, we're right on time. Okay, back to the checklist here. Airspeed indicator, we're going to have to check that later. There are no islands to look for. Chart update, I just did that. But what I can do is move these guys out of the temporary places of Google Earth so they don't get destroyed as soon as I exit the game. Game. Simulation. This isn't a game. There we go. So assuming that we're going to be at... Oh, we're going up again. We haven't even reached... We're at 32,000 feet. Jeez. I'm going to pitch way down. So assuming 364 miles per hour, we did the top of climb site at 45. It's been 9 minutes, and 9 minutes at 365 miles an hour will get us 55 miles. 55 is making an appearance quite a bit here. Going up again. Keep going down, please. Keep going down. Really pesky. There we go. You can hear the manifold pressure coming up again. All right, here comes so we're back in the 30,000s. So I'm going to stop it from nosing up again. Nope, don't nose up. Okay. We're getting a handle for it. That still wants to nose up. Yeah, that's why we weren't going as fast as we nearly could have. Okay, I did my chart update. Fuel consumption rate in gallons per hour. That's going to be fuel consumption rate in gallons per hour. Sorry, I blanked for a second. Let's see, 115 gallons per hour. We've been at this 10 minutes, so that's 1/6 of 115. So that's about 119 no, 19 gallons. 19 plus the originally planned 15. 19 plus 15 will give us 34 gallons. So 630 minus 34 is 596, or without reserve 546. The distance flown is 55 miles plus the distance to top climb, which is, or was, 98 miles. So we traveled 153 miles, which means remaining is 547 miles. This puts our interpolated position roughly at 19 degrees 8 minutes south and 167 degrees 38 minutes west. Is it possible to return to home base? Yes, it is. Okay, now we're back to do every celestial checkpoint. Take your shot at absolute times. Yes, regardless of actual or assumed position. Yep. Update the fuel chart by plotting distance flown versus time and cross-checking with the tank gauges. Okay. So now this gauge should stop going down because we have switched to the external tank, and now we're not really going to know what the tank level is there until it empties and switches over to main, which, by the way, isn't realistic. You're not supposed to ever run a tank dry, but even if I switch to mains early, the simulator will still use the drop tanks. So there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, I think we're, yes, we just topped and we're heading back down again. We're at 30,250 feet. Okay, so I'm going to say that we are back in cruise now. So right around 220 to 230 is what we're swinging to. So is 225 in the vicinity of what I planned for? Yes, it is, because I planned for 218 calibrated airspeed. So, that being said, I think we're good, but we do want to reduce to 2450 RPM, just a little bit too high right now. Oh. Well, apparently we can't get there because our manifold pressure is too high. Oh well. It's just a couple drops of fuel. It's not a big deal. Alright, now we're climbing back up again. Good. So over time, this sort of oscillation or oscillatory pattern should kind of start to die off, and we should enter a more proper cruise. Do every checkpoint during the flight. Calculate your true altitude. Convert to pressure altitude. Okay, so it's 2992 minus the altimeter times 1,000, but it's 2992, so our pressure altitude is our true altitude, plus our indicated altitude, which is 30,000 feet. So the pressure altitude is indeed what it says here on the altimeter. Let's see, find true airspeed by setting the E6B against OAT. So the OAT is going to be about minus 30, well, let's see, we're in a different leg now. Still minus 35. So I want minus 35 to 30,000 feet on the E6B. Okay, so an indicated of 230, which seems to be where we're settling out, is a true of 385 miles per hour. So we might actually be moving a little bit faster. That might have been because of the descent, although possibly not. I think we're in the 20s now. Yeah, we're at 2095. I don't want to get any lower than this, really. Calculate actual ground speed from the previous site. Well, I can't really do that because I need two sites or two fixes in cruise to be able to figure out a speed, and therefore I can't calculate wind speed and direction. And now I'm at the landfall chart. Good. So that's that's everything that I needed to do on this checklist. So now I got to prepare for the next site. So the next site, I think we did 45 for the last one. Yeah, we'll just keep doing them on the 15s and the 45s. So we'll do 15, 15. This is going to be 30-minute speed. And we need to get an assumed latitude and assumed longitude. So we're going to assume that it's 364 miles per hour until we have empirical evidence otherwise. So that's going to mean an expected leg distance of 182 miles. So our expected position is going to be 19 degrees 25 minutes south, and then 165 degrees 42 minutes east. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this information into Skyview Cafe. So we're going to go to 1515, and now we're going to be at latitude 1925 south and longitude 165 42 west. She does not want to hold 30,000 feet today. I'll give you 29.5 or I'll give you 31,000. Choose between them. Unacceptable. Okay. Oh, not so quick. Not so quick. I wanted to level out the third place. Thank you. Okay, and let's see. We're heading at just about due east. Well, our ground track should be at about 100 degrees. So we want something that's really close to 100 degrees. And it's going to show up on Skyview Cafe as about 280 or so. Yeah, I think we might want to switch off now. Yeah, so noon key is at an azimuth of 288 degrees minus 180. Was that 108 degrees? Yeah, that's really close to. Yeah, 108 degrees. That's really close to a speed star. So we're going to use noon key now. 108 degrees azimuth elevation is going to be 44 degrees 10 minutes. And let's see. We're at a course of 100, so we want a star that's about 190 degrees off. So it's going to show up as, yeah, 10 degrees. We can keep using Agena. $196 degrees. azimuth and an elevation of 45 degrees, 45 minutes. Okay. So now that's written down onto my temporary sheet. I'm now going to copy this information down onto my spreadsheet. So that's noon key, star azimuth of 108 degrees, star altitude 44 degrees, 10 minutes. Actual time is going to be, well, we don't know that yet. The second star is going to be Agena again, and this time it's going to be at 196 degrees azimuth, and it is going to be at an elevation of 45 degrees, 45 minutes. And lastly, we're going to copy it in here. So we want noon key. Well, first, let's reset our position here. It's going to be 1925 and 165 42, which is going to round to 40. 1925, 165, 40. Good. Yeah, for you guys that are geography buffs, the 160s west is like Nowheresville. It's like the most open water that you could possibly find anywhere on the earth. Is like 165 degrees west. It passes through the Aleutians and Polynesia, and then that's it until you hit Antarctica. And then the actual time... Wait a minute, what am I doing? No, I wanted to azimuth and elevation. 196 degrees. 44 degrees, 10 minutes. Okay, and why copy all of this like 60 times? Well, it's because, believe it or not, copying things over and over again basically increases the chances that if it's wrong, you're going to discover it. That's why I do it this way, even though it causes me to blabber until my mouth gets dry. Okay, let's just verify we've got talk. So we're going to clear the shot, clear star 1, star 2, and we're done just about 5 minutes ahead of schedule. So now I get to roll back in the chair and actually take a breather. It wasn't supposed to be cirrus clouds. I wanted to do some stargazing. Let's see, Crooks is going to be south-southwest, so that's going to be in like this direction. It's also known as the Southern Cross. That's one of the easiest recognizable constellations there is in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm trying to look for it, but it might be not visible because of the stupidly incorrect clouds here. It always wants to put cirrus clouds in, no matter what the weather's like. It's like, sure, and just throw in some cirrus clouds. You know, it can't go wrong with cirrus clouds. Sure. Well, I'm sorry I'm not in a rocket ship. Okay, I think that might be Crooks there. So it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, that clustering of stars just above the left engine that looks like a doghouse. I think we're seeing Crooks and some other constellations. So the top of the doghouse looks like Mu-1 Crooks, and then let's see, a star that Beta Crooks, and the right would be Ga-Crooks, and the bottom A Crooks. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so 8 crooks. Let's see. Agena is going to be to the right and up from that, and it's one of the brightest stars. So it might be that one, the one that's just. Oh man, I lost it again. Yeah, it's like right, the left engine nacelle, directly in front of the propeller. Right, like there. There it is. I believe that's Agena, which is the star we're looking at right now. Okay, just a couple more minutes now. And I'm not going to bother looking for land now because we won't see it. Even if it's as clear as can possibly be, we're not going to see land until about 5 minutes after Talk 1 is the earliest possible time that we can sight land. And it does look awfully clear, but I'm not going to hold my breath because I've said that before, and then all of a sudden it's like, weather update, you have broken at 200 feet. And then I'm like, yay. It's literally like searching for a, it's literally like being in a corn maze when you have clouds that low. Because normally the tactic is when you get to where you believe the island is, you descend below the cloud deck, and then you look out, and you should be able to see it, because you know where you are within 5 miles. But if the clouds go below your minimum altitude, what a mess. Okay, we're coming up just about 1 minute from start of shot. Okay, here we go. 2, 1. Wait, no, 15 seconds. Sorry, I got off by the 15. I saw the 15 and was like, wait, now. No. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Oh, I like seeing that. Wow. Well, this actually shouldn't surprise me because, guys, in most of the previous, and gals, of course, most of my flights up until this point have been brand new. Oh, here comes the weather update. Have been using brand new cruise profiles, trying them out for the first time. That's why I complained about losing hundreds of hours of practice in the other plane, because I knew how it behaved. But this profile we've flown before on leg 4. So it shouldn't surprise me, but wow, that's 0 offset. I think we're right on time. Yeah, I'm not touching that. It's good. Okay, actual time of the shot 15:15, offset 0 nautical miles. Plot it. What did I just shoot? $196 degrees and 40, 44, 10. Oh my god. Okay. So I can fix this one. I had the elevation and azimuth cross configured in here, but written down correctly. all those times and it was still wrong. The good news is, in real life, I would have, I mean, that's mistake is impossible to make, because I would have had to essentially look over here while shooting a star over here, and my brain would be like, wait a minute, if I'm looking at the scope this way, how do I expect to see a star that's over here? So we're good. Alright, I plotted that line, and now we're going to quickly go over to Agena, which is 196. 196 and 4545. Alright, I have the shot clear and go. Okay, actual time of this shot is going to be at 15, we're going to round to 1518. And I'm looking at the shot right now. It looks good. Yeah, I'm going to say 0 offset. We'll let the shot complete because that's absolutely required. You have to let the shot complete. Yeah, it's good. Boom. Okay, I hit the button again that I shouldn't hit. But this is a very good sign. Basically what I've identified is that my speed calculations are precisely correct, and my location is precisely correct. So I want to keep the needle bang on centered in the, or the compass needle bang on centered in the track there, because we are the track of the heading bug, because we are exactly where we're supposed to be. No offset. So this one should be an easy one to plot. 108 degrees, 0 offset, minus 90 degrees is going to put us at 18. Oh, wait a minute. Of course, my assumed position was 10 miles north of course. Okay, so basically I'm still showing that we're 10 miles north of course, so do I really want to fix that? No, I don't think I do want to, because that's within the margin of error. Yeah, I'm not concerned about the 10-mile offset. If it gets any bigger than that, I'd be concerned, but oh well. At least I'm where I thought I was, instead of, you know, if you're not where you're supposed to be, at least be where you think you're supposed to be. Think you should be, even though you're not supposed to be there. Okay. And here we go. Save. This is 30-minute fix. Speed. LOP. And let me find the location again, 1925, 165.42. Okay. And this guy is a 196, so it's going to be 106 degrees is the speed location. Okay, so I'm going to say that 30-minute fix course, LOP. Cool, so I'm going to know exactly where, I should know exactly when we hit Talk 1. Yes, they're gone. So that's Crux. I could find it right away. The dang cirrus clouds are gone. So this cluster of 4 stars right here is Crux. Vanished again. It's actually easier to see when you're like zoomed out. It's kind of weird how that works, but yeah, so that cluster of 4 bright stars is Crux, the Southern Cross. And then Agena, the star we're shooting, is going to be let's see, 3 bright stars is going to be there we go. This guy, dead center of the screen, that's Agena. That is the star that we are using for this LOP, and I know it's a mess. If I had VR, I would probably be able to find this stuff a lot faster than I can in the simulator. I mean, in Orbiter, when I look for this stuff, I don't even have to try. I'm like, oh, cool, Aldebaran, out the window. You know, I don't even think about it. But in the simulator, if there's no... Color really helps. I was taught in my astronomy, my high school astronomy class, that you can't see color. Like, color vision and spatial, or what is it, 3D spatial recognition are absent in the stars because of the distances involved. I'm like, okay, I can understand the not being able to tell which star is further away phenomenon, but color? No. I can tell the difference between Rasselhagen and Betelgeuse, or between Aldebaran and Antares. Like, I mean, maybe because I spend more time actually staring at the stars than a graph in a lab. But my eye can tell the difference between the color. Okay, let's continue with the checklist so that I can just shut up and rest. Because these things are mentally draining, especially when I'm talking. Okay, heading indicator. We are just going outside again, so I'm going to fix that. Airspeed indicator is showing 210 to about 215. That's right where it's expected. Altitude is 30,400 feet and descending. So that's good. No islands to watch. Chart update. How long ago did we take the shot? 24, and we did it 15, so it's been 10 minutes, so it's been well, what did we say? Exactly 364 miles per hour, right? Because there was no offset. That is the speed. 364 for half an hour. Wait, no, 10 minutes. This will be about 60 miles. 61. 61. So you should be about 19 degrees, 35 minutes south, and 164 degrees, 47 minutes west. Okay. Done. You know, at any time during the flight, fuel consumption rate in gallons per hour should be like 114, 115. Total usable non-reserve fuel. Okay, so we got 629 is what we took off with. Then I'm going to subtract out 15 for the climb, so that brings us to 614. And we've been going for 40 minutes now at cruise, so 40 minutes is going to be 2/3 of 115, which is going to be 38 times 2. 76. So subtract 76 more gallons out of that. 538 gallons. We wanted to get fuel consumed. It's 76 and 15. So 91 gallons has been consumed. The amount of remaining with reserve is 538. Less reserve, it is 488. The distance flown is going to be 61 miles plus 180 something. 61 plus 180, so that's going to be 243 plus, it's 182, not 100. So it's 243, and then I had to add that to the distance of 100, or sorry, just 98. So I said 243, 341 miles. So 341 miles out of a 700-mile flight basically means that we would have 359 miles left. So right now we're just exactly coming up to the halfway point. Okay, and keep going. Distance remaining. Distance remaining. What's the distance remaining? Oh, we just did that. Interpolated position. I read that out before. Now it's going to be about 1936 south and 164.38 west. That's our interpolated position. Is it possible to return to home? To base. Per the fuel chart, yes. Okay, that's it. Alright, real quick, before I update again with the new information here, I'm taking a look at my track percentage missed. That is, how far off course are we versus how easily we're going to spot the island, and I'm only showing 10% off. So a 10% of the total distance that we need to be off to completely blow past the island. I'm not concerned about that. That's totally okay. Okay, now I'm going to update. This one is going to be Talk 1. So we're going to advance the time in Skyview Cafe to 15:45. And the location of Talk 1 is 20 degrees 4 minutes south. And the longitude is going to be 162 degrees. 55 minutes. It is astronomical twilight, guys. It's about to start getting bright again. And you can kind of see it. You know, the blue glow is... should start to wrap all the way around the horizon. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're between astronomical and nautical twilight now. Oh my gosh, I forgot to shut these things up. Alright, 162, 55, 20, and 15:45. Okay, so I have Skyview Cafe positioned in the correct position as well as time. So now I need to figure out a good star to use again. We're basically at a course of 98, so I want a star that is very, it's 97. I want a star that's very near to 97 degrees azimuth. Let's use noon key again. That's at 107. So noon key is at 107 degrees and 53 degrees 36 minutes. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to 189 degrees. The Gene is starting to get pretty to the west. Let's switch over to Rigel Kentaurus, which is the nearest star to the Earth visible to the naked eye, so I better make some parallax corrections. Just kidding. It's still 4.6 light years, I want to say. Proxima Centauri is the closest star to the Earth, but you can't see it. It's a low-mass red dwarf star. Okay, 16 is going to be rounds to 17. 197 degrees. Rigel Kentaurus is also known as Alpha 1 Centauri, but I just like the name Rigel Kentaurus a lot more because in a couple dozen, if not a couple hundred years, what constellation it's in will be irrelevant. So let's prepare for that. 45 degrees, 38 minutes is the altitude. Second step is to update the stuff in the Celestial tab here. Star 1, noon key. 107 degrees. 45, no. I almost did it again. I almost cross-referenced numbers. 170 degrees, 53 degrees, 36 minutes. Actual time, don't know that yet. And now we've switched over to Rigel Kentaurus. Azimuth 197, altitude 45 degrees, 38 minutes. And let's set up for, so we've got to update our position to TOC 1. 20 south, it's going to be 5 minutes east. And then 162. 55. Okay, and star 107. And I am mentally thinking about it now. 107, so it's off the nose. 53 degrees. 36 minutes. Good, that's right. 107, 53, 36 at 45, which is in just about 10 minutes, so we'll get a nice break again. And there was one more thing that I had to do. Oh yeah. Confirm that we have the fix. Got star 1, star 2, and just make sure they're out of the temporary places, folders, so they won't get deleted. And I have the offset. Do I do. Okay, so clear the shot, clear star 1, star 2, we get just about 8 minutes. Dang, you know what's so crazy about this is I honestly feel like this is as intense as the Apollo flight plan. I've done Apollo, NASSP, and ASMO in orbiter, and oh my gosh, it's like, it's time for your program 52 alignment preferred. Ugh. It's time for your program 52 alignment RefSmat. Ugh. AOS Canberra. You know, this and that. And then it's like, it's time for the L plus 4 hours and 20 minutes EPS system check. Oh my god. Manual control demo at Perigee. So you get the point. It's like, you know, the time that you just get to stop and look out the window in space is precious time. It is really handy having the Southern Cross out there, because I know if I maintain its position fixed on the canopy, then I know that it's good. In fact, it'd be interesting if they train navigational pilots by wallpapering up the inside of the what's this thing called, canopy, with sackcloth, and then on the sackcloth showing like buttons where the stars will be, and then telling the guys, okay, what constellation is that? What constellation is that? Granted, it would probably take way too much work in World War II. Nowadays they just use software, and nowadays they'd use VR. In fact, that might be just the push that I need to get a VR headset, is being able to just stargaze without actually stargazing. Yeah, I wanted to check. Okay, cannot see the horizon all the way around, so it's not quite nautical dawn yet. It's so cool. Saw the Milky Way tonight. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't started disappearing yet, because, I'm thinking of zodiacal light. It's going to say zodiacal light disappears before you get nautical dawn. That's the whole reason why astronomical twilight exists, is because most people are like, oh yeah, it's dark outside, you know, the sky's dark. I'm like, okay, yeah, but can you see Messier 33? Can you see zodiacal light? Can you see airglow? Can you see the airglow? You know, they're like, oh. So astronomical twilight is where those things come out. In fact, most people do not get to see astronomical twilight, because you have to be in a Bortle class 3 or better location to be able to get astronomical twilight. Unfortunately, where I am physically located, I don't even get nautical twilight. But at least I get civil twilight. Some inner core cities will, like the inner cores of some cities, won't even get civil twilight. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Can you just bury me in like a very dark crypt in a unused subway tunnel? And I'll make that my home so that I can actually sleep. Thank you. You know, get me away from the lights, please. Keep an eye on the time. Okay, we got 3 minutes. Let's do another indicated to true check. Actually, I don't need to. That's our magic number of 218. Exactly what we got on like 4 and previously. So we're good. And our calculations are good too. don't know how this flight ends. It began really bad, but it's going good now. It's like we're a spacecraft transiting the Milky Way. That was cool. All right, time for work. Just about 2 minutes. And LOP intercept is coming up at 1611, so really soon we're going to switch over to preparing for an LOP intercept. Yeah, I think by the time we have everything marked down and plotted, I think it'll be time for preparing for the LOP intercept. And the time will be off this time, just about 3 minutes, assuming that this shot is where it should be. We are close enough now that I will also update our compass heading again. Now we're supposed to follow a heading of 83 degrees. That's going to change things, it looks like, about that. So, I got a nice star on the horizon now that I can aim for. But unfortunately, that's going to disappear soon. Alright, 10 seconds to go. This will be up here. 3, 2, 1, starting the shot. We're off. We got it. So 30 miles off. That means we must have hit some wind. Unless we're ahead. No, if the elevation angle is lower for us, it means that we're behind. We must have hit some serious wind gusts. We're quite a bit behind. Minus 30. Okay, so it's not 107. It's 287. Back 30 nautical miles. 287. Back 30 nautical miles. And then I have to subtract it out, so it's going to be 197 is going to be what the azimuth of our line of position is going to be. this is Talk 1 speed LOP, showing us quite far behind. That was pretty unexpected. So minus 30 miles. Dang, slowed down 50 miles an hour. It's pretty crazy. Alright, let's set up first start to first plot it. Yeah, so that's where I thought we were, that's where we actually are. 197. And 45 degrees, 38 minutes. Just get around to 4. Alright, I have the offset written down, so we'll clear that. And start the shot. This one is going to be at 48. 15, 48. Right about there. Alright, this one's probably going to introduce, yeah, this one's going to introduce a correction. Minus again, probably. So we're going to be in the opposite direction. So instead of 197, we're going to be at 17 degrees. And I think the offset is going to be 25 or negative 25 for that matter. Yep, exactly as intended. And then we're going to plot that. Okay, so we're even further north and behind. So let's see, 107. Save, Talk 1, course LOP. Alright, now at this point, if we were doing a longer flight, I would want to calculate what the wind speed is doing so that I can factor it in with the rest of the flight, but we're getting pretty close to the end of it, so I'm just going to take the correction. So we need to get the wind correction to parallel. Use fix on the chart to determine how far off we are. Okay. We are 35 statute miles long. Okay. Let's see. We're going to also be going for an additional distance, and I think I also need, yeah, I need to get this written down. Minus 25, that means we are 25 miles off course. We're now 18% missed. So, it could be worse, but I want to fix it. So, we've gone 5 extra miles at 6 miles a minute, so that's going to be 30 extra miles. Okay, so we're 30 miles ahead of where we are now, which means right about now we should be at Talk 1 now. What time is it? Talk 1 at 15:50. Okay. Alright, going back to the chart here, we're 35 miles off. Turn the dial to match the distance you last flew since being on course. Well, that's going to be, let's see, if I go back to top of climb, that's 380 miles. Turn the dial on the inner, oh wait, no, this is correction, right? Find the distance off course on the outer scale. So it's 35 miles. Turn the inner dial to match the distance you flew since last being on course. Okay. That was, what did I say, 350 or so miles? That's good enough. So the correction angle is going to be 6 degrees to parallel. Okay. So, in the log, at 1552 right, 6 degrees to parallel. Okay. So, that's closer to 90, so we're going to go over here now. Okay, and then I need to, on the inner scale, set distance remaining, set distance remaining in flight opposite distance off course on outer scale. So outer scale is 35 miles off course, and the inner scale we want the distance remaining until we're there. So that's going to be just about 147 miles. And the angle is going to be 14 degrees. So at 1553, right 14 degrees to intercept. So now we're looking at 104 degrees. Which is pretty much right about where we are now. I just got to level the wings here. Yay, trolling cumulus. You know, it's been clear the entire time, and it's like, oh, you're getting close to an island. Let's throw in some cumulus. I really wish it would stay clear. We're actually not going the right way. We want to go more this way. Alright, I want to know when we're getting close to beginning a descent. That is anticipated in 176 miles. So, let's see, how many minutes was that going to be? I think I'm gonna do beginning a descent just because we're so far off, and I want a positive fix on our location, close to LFB intercept. It's going to take about 23 minutes to get there. Anyhow, so I'm going to set my assumed position to beginning a descent, which is 2020, and 160.45. And then I need to get this plugged into Skyview Cafe. 2020. 160.45. Now here's the question, well I guess we just plug in the time, right? The time that we want to take the shot. Let's make it for 58. We'll do noon key again. Is at 107 degrees. Elevation 58 degrees 32 minutes. And then in the south, Rigel Centaurus, which is going to be at an azimuth of 200 degrees. Altitude 44 degrees 17 minutes. Alright, so 107 1607 and 5832. Okay, I have everything in here. Have the offsets. Do I have those recorded? Yes, I do. Alright, so we're gonna clear star 1, star 2. The first star is gonna be Niue. Oh man, what did I do? Must have been holding some Excel button here. I opened up the second spreadsheet. Control N, I guess. Niue 107 and 58 degrees 32 minutes. Rigel Centaurus 200 degrees 40. Can't read that. Go back to Skyview Cafe. 44 degrees 16 minutes. Oh shoot, it's time for the shot. Okay, not to worry. I'm expecting this one to be off. Right, so time of the shot, 15:58. Okay, minus 80 miles. That's okay. In the opposite direction. So 287. 80 miles back. So it's going to be 197. Okay, we're going to save this as BOD check 1 speed LOP. So what it's telling us is that we're way back here. We've not come up to beginning of descent yet. So that's expected. And now I also want to get my other shot here. So that's at 200, the course shot. And what I want to see is that we're closer now than we have been in the past. 44 degrees, 17 minutes. Let me get the offset here. And then actual time of this shot will put us 16:01. I have this down, clear, and start the shot. Oh. For some reason it thinks that the sun is up. We're not there yet, but it has been known to mess up, so we'll just pretend that's still a star. And it looks like it's on. Yeah, we're on course. Well, that happened a lot quicker than I thought. Alright, so it's been 13 minutes. Boom. Okay. We're on course, so I'm going to take the time down. 16:02 on course. Resume heading. So I'm looking to the nav log now. It says I'm on course, so I'm looking to the nav log to tell me where to steer. That's 83 degrees. It's going to be right about there. I think that happened because I took a steeper turn than intended. Or I shouldn't say steeper, I should take a bigger turn. So the Southern Cross, we must have probably got... Yeah, we went past it. That's why. Okay. Yeah, that's a really handy check there. So we should be pretty much right on course now. So that makes me a little bit happier. But now we've got to solve a time hack. The amount of distance, the amount of time that... Oh, I also have to get my time down. So let's see, it's going to be 200 degrees minus 90 or 110 is going to be the... Check. One course. LOP. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. So, the line isn't 100% parallel. And we are so far distant from the beginning of descent that you have to account for those extra things. So even though it looks like we're still on course, what it means is we're on the LOP to intercept beginning of descent. So that means we need to turn to the azimuth. So write it down in the log. 1605. I want to turn to an azimuth 200 degrees minus 9, which is going to be 110 degrees minus 13 degrees. Actually, it's 14 now. $96 degrees heading. Okay, and that's where I want to go. So I made a mistake earlier when I said we were on course, because I forgot the star is not 100% collinear with or co-parallel with our course. So what that means is that we have to account for those 7 degrees or however far it's off. We're on the line of position with the star, which means we should put the star directly abeam the aircraft, and that's just about where it is now. So that's like the sun trick that I did on leg number 3, where I'm like, okay, if the sun's on the left side, we know we're heading the right direction. I think we're good now. Alright, I need my time hack. So, let's see, we did 45 to 58, so it's been 13 miles, or 13 minutes since we flew from point A, which was Talk 1, or where I thought Talk 1 was, to the first time I checked beginning of descent. So, using the E6B, we flew 85 miles, statue miles, in 13 minutes. So that indicates that we're moving 390 miles per hour again. Okay, so I guess whatever it was, we're back up to speed. So we're expecting beginning of descent in 90 miles. That's going to take 14 minutes to get there. So I'm going to write down in the log, expecting beginning of descent at 14 minutes plus the time that we took it here. So that was 58. 15 minutes ahead would be 16:13. Back 1 minute, 16:12. So I got 5 minutes to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up Skyview Cafe at 16:12 and get some new parameters here. Noon key is going to be at 107 degrees and altitude 61 degrees 40 minutes. Rigel Centaurus you know what? I think it's time we switched. It's starting to get pretty far west. We should be following a ground track of 100 degrees. So 190 would be ideal. Yeah, it's still the best star to use. Rigel Centaurus is going to be at 202 degrees. Altitude of 43 degrees 7 minutes. Alright, so let's get set up here. 107. And 6140. And let me just make sure I have that offset plugged in. I do. Okay, so we're going to clear the shot out, and I have the check shot plotted. Yes. Clear star 1, star 2. And we're just waiting now. In theory, we might be able to see the island about 30 degrees off. Alright, 20 seconds to go. And this one we should be expecting to see bang on. looks like maybe 15 miles. And it's going to be in the opposite direction, so 287. Yeah, minus 15. 287, 15 nautical miles. And it's at 107, so that's going to translate to 17 when I plot the LOP. It's along 17 degrees here. This is BOD check 2 speed LOP. Alright, so we're 15 miles from it, and if we're assuming a speed of 365, which that guess of 390 was probably a little bit high. So if we assume 365 miles per hour, it'll take us 4 minutes to fly at 15 miles an hour. So I think we can initiate beginning a descent at 1616. But meanwhile, let's try to get the other star. 202 degrees. Oh, shoot. 107. Mark it. And then 202 degrees. There's 202 at 43 degrees, 7 minutes. Okay, and let me get that time. So we did noon key at 107, 61 degree, 42 minute. Actual time of the shot was at 16:12. Offset minus 15. Rigel Cantaris at 202. Okay, that's written down. I can clear that and start the shot. 202 degrees and 43 degrees, 7 minutes, and actual time of the shot is going to be 16:15. Looks like about 10 miles off. Minus 10. So we're going to be north of course again, which means that we should put that correction back in. So what is it going to be? 202. So 22 degrees. 22 degrees north, 10 nautical miles. It's going to translate to 112. Okay, I'm going to say that, and that is BOD check 2 course LOP. Okay. We're 39 nautical miles from beginning LOP intercept. So that's where we are. That's where beginning a descent is. So it's pretty much time to go. I'm going to get this information down. The offset was minus 10. So we're 10 miles off course. So we're down to 7% missed. Not bad. Okay. Descent at 16:17. Alright, so we're going to do let's see, descent checklist. Throttles 15 inches. and then prop 1600 RPM. And that's it for the time being. Okay, so I need to get ready for landfall. So the closest time, we actually blew 1611. So I'm going to set Skyview Cafe to the base, which is at 2112, 159.48. $21, 12, 159.48. And we'll do the first shot at 16:21. Actually, 20. All right, 21. Okay. At 16:21. Altair is going to be at 237, so that's going to be 57 degrees and an altitude of 39 degrees, 51 minutes. Okay. Did I get these numbers down? Can I clear them? Yes, I did. Okay. Clear star 1, star 2. Setting to the destination. 21:12 and 159.48. Azimuth 57 degrees. Altitude 39 degrees, 51 minutes. Okay. Alright, it's time to start the shot. Let me just double check those numbers against landfall chart. Yep, 39 degrees, and so we're halfway between the two. So we can do a direct linear interpolation. We're at 39.825. Yep. And then the azimuth would be 57 degrees. Okay. I'm not paying attention to this thing, and I really need to be. Okay, our offset is positive 10, so I'm going to mark that. What that tells me is that we have just passed it by 10 nautical miles. So this is going to be the first time I'm going to use that checklist. So we're going to turn to, what time is it? LOPI turn at 16:22, and it's going to be 57 degrees, but, no, 57 plus 90, so 137. Wait, something's not right. $57 plus 180. No, 57 plus 90. 147 degrees. But then I have to subtract out 14 degrees magnetic. So I'm getting 133 degrees. Does that agree with the plan? Yes, it does. Okay, and remember, we have to keep navigating once we've turned on the position. So I'm expecting 26 minutes to go until we hit the island. So expecting Rarotonga at 16:22 plus 26 minutes. And we were parallel, so I'm not really going to subtract out the time. So 22 and 26. 16:48. So if I see 16:50, that's when I'm going to start being like, what did you do again? Alright, we can check this again at 16:31. This time we'll have an azimuth of 55 degrees, and this is what I messed up last time. And 41 degrees, 48 minutes. Okay, so we're set up for a second star, or a second shot rather. This is so frustrating. It's supposed to be right about there, and it's like every single time it's always cloaked in clouds. Very frustrating. The world sure doesn't make this easy. And guys, the runway is 1/3 of the entire length of the island. That's how small this island is that we're looking for. It's almost a runway. Now, it gets worse than that, guys. The Totagegi approach is literally the island of Totagegi is the name of the airport, Totagegi, and I'm pretty sure the runway occupies the entire. The runway plus the terminal occupies the entire island. That being said, it's an atoll, so there's a lot more there too. Kind of hard to tell what I'm looking at there. Let's keep an eye on the time here. So we had a definite fix before LOP intercept. We knew we were north, of course. So 9 nautical miles. Maybe we need to add in. We'll add in 2 minutes because we were further north of what we expected. So 16:50 is my panic time. And no, that's not what we would ever call it in real life aviation. Wow, these are some high clouds. We're at, I guess, are we down to 13,000 feet already? Oh. So we know for a fact that we're north of the LOP. So as long as we stay on the LOP, we should hit the island at some point. I just got to make sure that I don't pull what happened last time and screw up by being like, oops, it's some clouds now. Okay, we turned at 16:22, so it's pretty much a 30-minute ride. And it's been 5 minutes. What speed are we using here on the descent? We're using 160. So it's been 5 minutes. That'll get us 13 miles. Okay, so 73 miles. Now we're down to 60 miles from base. And at 30 and a half, so exactly 2 minutes from now, I'm going to take another shot. Oh, that's good. It looks like we should be able to get under this cloud deck. Alright, getting some turbulence here coming down. Alright, 1 minute to go. Oh, heck, we might as well start now, just in case. Plus 10 nautical miles. Okay, I got that written down. Oh. These bloody cumulus clouds. We'll just keep trying till we get it. Okay, we're below 12,000 feet now, so we're going to continue with the descent checklist. Let's see. Fuel boost pumps off below 12,000 feet. 1, 2. O2 flow off below 12,000 feet. Off. And cockpit heat off. Because now it's going to be starting to get warm. Come on. You're over there. I can see you. No, actually, that's noon key. Let's see. Altair's going to be further down. I think I can still see it, though. It's beyond that cirrus cloud. I hate these dang pesky cumulus clouds. They're so annoying. Which is funny, because normally I like these. Like, when I talk about a fresh summer sky, I like to see puffy cumulus clouds at like 3,000 to 5,000 feet. You know, and I even like to fly in them too when I'm able to. But not under these circumstances. This is a cool effect, though, I must say, coming down through the clouds. Okay, 33. So we're about 12 minutes beyond. 12 minutes will get us about 33 miles. So I think we still have about 40 nautical miles to go. I'm going to start kicking up a little bit more. We're also getting pushed off a little bit here. Let's try it again. We got it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I saw what I had to. So we're 15 miles off now. Wait a minute, I didn't update the time. It's going to be at 42:22. Plus 15. Okay, that didn't make a difference. We're at plus 15 miles. What time is it? 16:34 plus 15 miles. That means we've gone too far. It's going to be over here. Ooh. Ooh. What is that thing? Yeah, see, so we're a little bit further off of it now. So we'll just keep angling this way. Doesn't this look like the DreamWorks opening right here? You know, just complete blue. Alright, let's try again at 38 if we can. At that point, we'll be down to 54 degrees. And 43.7. Let's do it. Okay, now I'm showing that we're 10 miles off, so this seems to be working. I still really think that it's going to be on this side of the plane. Still have about 12 minutes to go before I'm going to start getting really concerned. That's a little bit of improvement. Let's see, Rarotonga has some mountains that go up to 1,500 feet, so I would like to hope that we would see that sooner than later. It is a little bit concerning that I'm not seeing it. So, let's see, we're flying almost due south, so I'm going to see if we can get something off the wing for a course shot. We did Saturn last time. Let's try to do that again. So Saturn at 1642 is going to be at 275 degrees. $90, 95 degrees, and 43 degrees 4 minutes. Okay. Oh, that's handy. It's exactly, I don't have to touch elevation, only the azimuth. This is interesting. So this is basically telling us that we're like right at base. If that's the case, then no, we're a little bit off. We are a little bit off. I was going to say that would mean we're directly abeam the island. Okay, this is going to be a positive offset, so it's in the direction of 95 degrees. 15 miles off and 95 degrees. So that's going to translate to 5 degrees. Yeah. So at 1642, Saturn, Mark star 1, plus 15 miles. Okay, so we're definitely east of port of the island. All right, save E1. Course LOP. And now I need something straight in front of us at like 180 degrees. Do Atria 1645. 184 degrees, 41 degrees, 48 minutes. Sometimes it works, guys, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, this is really weird. This is really weird. We've got virtually no offset. Okay, that's it. So, from the island, it's in a positive direction, so 184, 5 nautical miles. Okay. So that's going to be 275. E1 speed LOP. Okay. The crosshairs is us, and that's the base. So we're now on a new LOP. We got to turn towards 275 minus 13, so 257. At 1646, turned 257. Wait, no. I said 275. No, it's 274. Yeah, 274 minus 14, 260. 260 degrees. And we're expecting to fly this for 16 nautical miles. And let's see what our current speed is. It's just about 200 miles an hour. So 16 nautical miles at 200 miles an hour will take about 5 minutes. So 1651 is when I'm expecting to see land again. This is a small island. This is where it really matters. Let me make sure I got the right position for the base entered. 21 degrees, 10 minutes south. Yep, that's good. 159.50. That's good. That's the northeast corner of the island. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. The keys of World War II navigation is, and really everything in World War II, is don't sit there fat, dumb, and happy, work. So at 1651, which I'm pretty much upon right now, I should be seeing the island, and I do not. So that's clearly a problem. So we're gonna take a look to the north now. We're going to look at Vega. Now, I'm running out of room on this page, which is a bad sign. Vega 1651 is 13 degrees. Altitude is going to be 28 degrees 27 minutes. Well, that's saying we're basically on it. Or not. Okay, I like that. That's -10. It's plot star one, so -10 is going to be in the opposite direction of 13 degrees. That's going to be 193 degrees, and we're off. So now it's saying that we're to the south of the island, so 283 degrees. So this is going to be E2, course, LOP. And let's see, I need an object to the west now. Spica 1654. +88 plus 180, so that's going to be 268 degrees 29 degrees 4 minutes. Star 3 is cluttering. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was gonna say we're probably due south of the island, and it looks like that's exactly what's going on. Okay. So land 1654. That's actually not that much delayed. Aviate, navigate, communicate. As soon as I saw that island, I should have climbed. So I'm starting to think that it might be a good idea to not, and I think I've said this before, don't descend until I see the island. That being said, I think my concern time was 1650, and we're only about 5 minutes beyond it, so not too bad. But basically what we did is we did an upside-down question mark around the island. So I want to finish off this site, though. So Spica was at 88 degrees and 29 degrees 3 minutes. I just want to confirm that it's going to tell me what I was expecting. Well, it's telling us that we're right on, so, but that's the north-south direction. Or wait, no, that's the east-west. No, that's north-south. Because we have to add, so it's going to be 358. Okay, that agrees perfectly. Save E2 course LOP. Yeah, I'm looking at my LOP plot right now, and I was literally exactly where I was with respect to the island where I was when I finally sighted land. Yep. Yep, absolutely no concerns there. Cool, so the green circle is the island, and that's us, and you can see we're flying north to intercept the island. So what we did was we came down from LOP intercept, then did sort of this thing, and then we found it and went in. So we almost orbited the island. That's, believe it or not, I'm actually not too upset about that because, like, I mean, obviously that can be improved, but the deal here is, I was flying around the island. There was nothing wrong with my celestial navigation. I think what could have been done is the execution of my airmanship, in the sense that we probably shouldn't have descended. That could be improved. Alright, let's land this thing. Fuel selectors on fullest tanks. Let's see, it's been, let's see, we took off at 14, 17, it's been 2 hours, so we burned, like, what, 280 gallons or something like that? Yeah, 280 minus 280 minus 15 is 265. which means per tank that's going to be about 135. Yeah, I think the drop tanks are almost empty. So I'm going to go at 1658 drop tank to main, but I mean it's not simulated, but we can do it because it's part of the checklist. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright, fuel selectors are on the fullest tanks. Fuel boost pumps on. 1, 2 propeller governors at 2600 RPM. Auto rich. Intercooler shutters open. Speed established 175 miles per hour. Put the landing light on. Alright, we're good speed-wise. Almost. Landing gear down. Okay, speed established 150. And just to double check, yeah, we want runway 8. So let's see, I was expecting landing, let's see, the flight is 2 hours and 22 minutes long, was what I was expecting. And we lifted off at 14:15, so 16:37. Okay, so we're about half an hour late. It's not out of control, but yeah, it's kind of late. Alright, we are not lined up with the runway here. Now, the good news is, next episode we're going to the Pearl of the Pacific, Tahiti. And Tahiti's quite a big island, and it's got some islands surrounding it, so it's not quite as scary, but it's an uphill climb. It's only going to get worse from here. Tahiti is 20 miles in diameter, and that compares to Rarotonga, which is just 4.5 miles in diameter. So it's a lot bigger island. But like I said, they get smaller. I'm specifically looking at Totagegi, and I think in a similar size class is, of course, the by now famous Robinson Crusoe leg. Like I keep saying it, the whole reason I've established all these aggressive procedures are because of the Robinson Crusoe leg. How tight it will be fuel-wise. Well, guys, I haven't gotten loneliness syndrome until now. Up until now, it's been like every island is like its own world, and I'm just looking at Rarotonga, and I'm like, yeah, that's a jungle. That's a hill with a jungle on it in the middle of the ocean. Like I know obviously there's an international airport on it, so there's quite a big population. But am I feeling that we're in the middle of the ocean? Yeah, I am actually right now. Okay, speed is now established at 150. So next on the checklist is when landing assured, flaps are down. We'll do that after we turn to final. Okay, we can put the first notch in. Okay, I think we're ready for second notch. How long is this thing? 7,000 feet. Gummit, you know what? I think we're gonna miss. Yeah, there's no way we can make that. Alright, we'll just try again. Dang, is that even an acceptable runway to take off on? Like, holy cow. There's a big mountain there. Get a nice view of the reef there. I really hope a cyclone doesn't come when I get when while I'm there, because let me tell you, that airport's only 15 feet above sea level. If it gets hit by a Category 5, although you know what, I keep saying cyclone. I think at this point we call them typhoons. Yeah, I forgot about that. When we switched over the let me look at my naming zones map. No, typhoons are north of the equator. They're still cyclones. Okay. Yeah, I would not want to see a Category 5 cyclone there. That would be quite terrifying. On an island that's maybe 10 miles wide and the airport's 200 feet above sea level, yeah, I'm cool with that. But 15 feet above sea level and 4 miles in diameter, yeah, that's pretty scary. Maybe that's why they call this place out here Micronesia. Or I guess that means small land. Small islands like the one we're trying to land on. Alright, we're almost there. Although I don't want to cut off my base turn. I think we're good. Okay, check landing gear is down, speed established 150. So we're just waiting for assurance on landing, and then we'll put the flaps down. Slip a little bit, maybe? Jeez. surprised I'm misjudging this approach. It's got to be something with the island that's making me do it. Like, I think I have more room than I do. No, I'm not doing it. Flip's sake, the flight that won't end. This is oh my gosh, this reminds me of a Longford legend. We're almost as far away from Great Britain as you can get, but there is this a group of islands called the Hebrides. In fact, there are New Hebrides, which we flew past not too long ago. And the Hebrides has this one folk song called the Longford Legend, made up of three, it's I think it's just called the Suite, Hebrides Suite, and it's got this third movement. It's got three movements. This third movement is called a Longford Legend, and I think the idea is that it was written in like the 1800s, but they got stuck in like some sort of weird time warp or something, and so the boat is kind of like a Greek river Styx punishment, where, you know, almost like a punishment. The boat was doomed to row round and round and round forever and in the sea. That's kind of what I feel like right now. You know, Longford Legend. It's like, when is it going to end? We just keep going in big circles. Let me try to actually get myself leveled off at the pattern altitude instead of climbing, which is what I've been doing. So I think I've already shot that. Yeah, I'm at 2,300. Although I'm not going to complain given the fact that I'm in the middle of the ocean. More altitude is always better. Which is probably why I was screwing this up so many times. And of course, all those trolling cumulus clouds were gone. Although I better hold my breath, because it could just magically be snap replaced with fog. You know, wouldn't that be great? I have an issue about as many curse words as our speed right now. Because I'd be like, if I landed that one time. The issue is, I knew we could have done it, but the problem is with my brakes, the way my brakes work. When I stomp my brake pedals, there's some really weird things that happen. Basically, if I stomped the brakes as much as I would have had to, I'd be concerned about a loss of control situation. You know, we just go spinning and spinning and spinning. You know, think the Longford Legend, but, you know, 10 times faster. And dying instead of, you know, staying alive through that endeavor. Alright, let's cut the power. Let's add the first notch of flaps. And once I get my wings level, we'll add the second notch. There we go. This looks much more manageable. Yep, I think this is going to be the one to bring us in. Okay, we're heading down towards the fuel pump now. It should be a pretty quick taxi, so I think I'm going to stop on the runway to check my fuel. I seriously doubt anybody is going to be coming to this island. Oh my gosh. I don't know, well, probably not now, but in the 40s, they probably, well, during the war, maybe the 50s, they probably wouldn't care if I just park on the runway. Okay, after landing checklist, flaps up. Fuel boost pumps off. Propeller governors full forward. Coolant shutters. Everything open. Okay, well, I'm glad to be on the ground. That was quite a spinorama, but I don't think we did anything wrong. I think that was just a series of unfortunate events out of our control. I'll debrief it a little bit later. Let's see. Coolant shutters. Full open. Oil shutters, full open, landing lights. We're going to leave landing lights and recognition lights on for the time being. Let's hop out on the wing and check our fuel. Okay, finished with exactly 420 gallons. Let's see. Left, the auxiliary is going to be the reserve. 54 gallons. Left main is full. Right reserve, 54 gallons. Right main, full. External tank 1, external tank 2, both at 63. Okay. Okay, so I calculated 420 gallons, and let's see, that should be all the information we need here. So at this point, what we're going to do is check that against the amount of fuel that I was expecting to burn. And amazingly enough, I'm calling for 394.6 remaining at the destination. We burned less fuel than I was planning. So we're expecting 234 to get used in flight. And we used 210. Well, that's interesting. Because our flight was slower, so something must have been off with the fuel burn calculations. Oh man, I hope this taxiway has lights at night. Wow, pretty simple. Tower, terminal, tanks. That's it. Okay, oh yeah, landing light off, and we can turn the recognition lights off. We'll worry about the wing and tail once we park. So, I think the one thing that needs to change is, let's see, I'm just curious, did my fuel tanks fill up again? No, they didn't. Okay, so not close enough. I think, honestly, there they go, that my accuracy needs to get a little bit better. I think I might need to start advancing some LOPs. And then I was going to also debrief what happened earlier with I think it was the question mark going around in circles. Yeah, because I knew where I was the whole time. I think the issue was I failed to actually land in the line of position, so I think the LOP intercept, you really got to get that down, because I thought I was correcting, and I wasn't, so I think that's an issue of you just got to nail it, and probably shouldn't be as interested in beginning a descent as I am the LOP intercept, because once I hit the LOP intercept, that's it. You know, you can always guess and check later, but you don't want to be late for LOP intercept. Okay, I think this one's been long enough. We'll go ahead and start shutting down here. And look at how high the sun is. You know, we were supposed to land right at sunrise, and the sun's almost an hour above the horizon. Okay, stopping engines checklist, throttle 1600 RPM, hold for the impurities to burn out. And return to 1200. Mixture, idle cutoff. Oh, that's cool. I can see the intercoolers, or the coolant flaps shadow. I want those in automatic. All right, let's see. We are done everything at 1730. Wow, what a flight. So here we are at Rarotonga. We're quite isolated at this point. So from here to New Zealand, it's 1,700 miles, and to Australia, it's just under 3,000 miles. Next episode, we're going to the Pearl, Tahiti, and that is the last happy island before things start getting for real. Let's measure the island of Totagegi right now. Oh, it's a little bit longer than I thought, so it's got more than the runway on it. It looks like 3 miles long, and it is 750 feet wide. It's a reef, basically. Now, it's very close to the island of, I think it's Mangariva. Rikitea is very, the town is very close by. So, I mean, it's an atoll. I don't know how well it's going to show up on Flight Simulator. It is 7 miles in diameter, so it's kind of about the same size as Niue. Not quite as small as this, but that's a whole atoll that we're talking about, not the island itself. So, anyway. Yeah, just some things I might go over. Just see if maybe there's a couple actions that we might be able to get out of this. I don't have any problems with the way I handled things. I felt like I was in control the whole time and I wasn't panicked at all, so I would like to try to avoid the situation where we're just circling around the island a little bit more, so maybe if I can try to recognize a pattern and say, hey, every time it keeps on changing by 90 degrees, it's pretty clear that we're going in a circle here, and then just cut out on the radius. We'll see. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see everybody next time. This is Dr. Aeronautics. So long for now from Rarotonga.